All right. Looks like looks like we've I think got quite a few people in, so let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to our State of Cybersecurity um, with Executech and Sophos. So we are excited to talk with you guys today about where things are at and what we're seeing, and uh, also how you can protect yourselves and defend against the current threats of today. So to start off, just do a couple of introductions. My name is Tyler Rasmussen. I'm the VP of Cybersecurity here at Executech. And I've been with Executech since 2021 and February of 2021. And besides security, which is a passion of mine, I also like lots of different things. I'm married, my wife, and we have two kids. Uh, that are 11 and 15, a boy and a girl. Boy is 11 and the girl's 15. I coach my son's sports teams a lot of times, or assistant coach. So I love doing that. I love watching sports, including uh, college football. My team's BYU, so they're doing okay this year. Grateful for that. It's a lot of fun. And in addition to that, serving the community and local congregation, um, and things like that. There's lots of different things that I enjoy running and working out and reading, etc. So, but enough about me. Uh, I'll hand it over to Vo to introduce himself.
Awesome. Thanks, Tyler. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today. My name is Vo, of course, and I'm on the Sophos side. My role here at Sophos is to help ensure partners like Executech and Tyler, making sure that they have everything they need to help keep organizations safe. So I've been with Sophos for about close to 4 years coming up. So yeah, I've been with the Sophos 4 years. I'm constantly learning about cybersecurity myself. It's definitely keeping me on my toes. I also have, on a personal level, I also have two kids. I have a daughter who's 13 and a son that is 11. I don't watch sports, but I don't mind watching sports. I just don't have the time. But I enjoy the outdoors. I like cooking. Aside from that, cybersecurity, much like Tyler, it's very interesting. Definitely finding new ways and new trends and all that stuff is exciting to me. And obviously finding ways to combat and help defend from threat actors is what I like to do. So yeah, I'll pass it back to Tyler and we can get things going here.
Awesome. Thanks, Vo. All right. So a little bit about Executech. We are a leading managed IT providers serving SMBs across the Western U.S. We pride ourselves on being people first, and we have a lot of experience. We like to simplify and secure technology, and help businesses stay protected and focused on their main thing, so that they have the ability to do that. So you can see a few statistics about us, quite a few organizations, lots of years of experience, and then quite a few end users supported. So Vo will explain a little bit about Sophos.
Yeah, so a bit about Sophos. We've got over 600,000 customers globally. We do a ton of research and threat analyst data that we have that we've accumulated over the decades. I mean, we've been in this industry for over 40 years, so we're not a new startup or anything. We've been around for a very long time. The amount of data that we process on a daily basis is astronomical. It's well over 200 plus terabytes of data on a daily basis, which is, I don't know if you want to convert that to how many HD movies. That's definitely a lot, probably more than I can watch in a lifetime. And the last point I'd like to make here is we've got well over 30,000 MDR customers that's leveraging our MDR service, which we'll touch on today as well. And oh yeah, one more thing is we've got 8 global security operating centers around the world. It's kind of like follow the sun model. So because we know that cyber threat actors are not sleeping, right? So they're going to attack you all hours of the day. So that's why we've got the 8 global SOC centers around the globe. So yeah, just a quick little kind of update on Sophos there. Back to you, Tyler.
Thanks, Bo. Appreciate that. All right, so we want to get started talking about current trends. And we'll mix both current and a little bit of a peek into the future in terms of these trends, but we're excited to talk through some of these. So the first being the ever-present social engineering and human element. And you might think, well, why are we talking about this? This is not new. Well, you're right, it's not new. However, it remains that humans are often the weakest link in the chain of security, if that makes sense. So we see very prevalently is social engineering leading to account takeovers, and specifically through email. And I think Vo has some statistics on that a little bit later. That's the primary attack mechanism or avenue. And when this happens, when an account is taken over, there can be some devastating results. Some of the common attack methods include QR code password reset. So you can see an example of that on the left side of my screen. So just by a raise of hands, and forgive me, I failed to ask Latasha, who is our who's helping us in the background here. I don't know if everyone has the ability to raise their hands, but if you do, a raise of hands, if you have ever seen an email that has asked you to change your password with a QR code. Looks like there's a few of you guys. Okay, great. Yeah, so this one is one that is pretty common. It's not, I mean, it's not new this year, but it's relatively new. So it's something that is pretty prevalent out there, and just one of the ways that people get tricked. Another one that I call rabbit hole links is where an attacker will send an email that will then redirect you to a different document that is hosted in a legitimate SharePoint site, for example, but then that document contains a link to a fraudulent Microsoft 365 or Google sign-in page, where the attacker will steal your username and password and eventually like an MFA or a multi-factor token. So we see those things quite often, unfortunately, and as mentioned before, there are devastating results. What we normally see is one of two outcomes. We see that those attackers will harvest additional passwords and accounts using your good name as I guess collateral to get others to trust them when they send out emails as you, saying, "Hey, click on this link to get some sort of document," and then again it presents them with a fraudulent sign-in page where they harvest more credentials. The other devastating result that we see, so that's the previous one is really harmful from a reputational standpoint, and we have seen companies that have been attacked via another company that has been compromised, or an account that has been compromised, that have been implicated or accused of, hey, this is your fault because we got tricked because you were a trusted source, which is not a good position to be in. The other thing that we see is that the attacker will hide out in the email and will actually end up using it to gather information and then impersonate a partner or a client of the user. And then at that point, a fraudulent wire transfer will occur of some nature. So again, really devastating results, but this is definitely something that is extremely prevalent. We were talking this morning, in fact, among our leadership team, and it's something like we estimated among our clients of all of the alerts and incidents that we respond to, it's something like 90% are related to this type of phishing or social engineering via email. So anyways, just to kind of give you guys an idea of the prevalence there. The next thing that we see that is very prevalent is ransomware as a service. Now, I would say that the majority of ransomware that has occurred in the past, 10 years, 10 or so years, early on at least, was by specific or were the ransomware was deployed by users that were very technical. Maybe they created their own mechanisms. Unfortunately, now we're seeing these things sold as a service so that a criminal can go out and buy this type of service and then deploy the everything kind of in an easy format or an easy mechanism. So it includes the support. These criminals that are offering this ransomware as a service to other criminals include support, updates, and even negotiation services. So they say, here's our software kit, here's our ransomware as a service kit. You go and you can deploy this. You have to be somewhat technical, but we will offer you support. We'll offer you updates where they're needed, and if you do compromise an organization, then we will actually provide the negotiation on your behalf, which is I don't think I need to state how devastating these ransomware events are. If you haven't experienced one, consider yourself very lucky, or if you don't know anyone who has, consider yourself a unicorn. I think everyone at this point knows someone or a business that has that's close to them that has experienced this type of an event, unfortunately. Coming soon, meaning more prevalent and becoming more prevalent, are just completely plug and play. So you don't have to be technical at all as a criminal to deploy these. So I still believe that there are somewhat some technical capability required from what we're seeing out there, but it'll become more and more plug and play. And the effects of this are absolutely devastating. I don't need to highlight that. We all see the statistics in the media. I will say that in terms of the magnitude or the impact, this ransomware has the greatest impact from a financial perspective. In fact, we got called out as a potential resource to help a company clean up from a ransomware event recently. Not our client, but another organization. And right before we were set to go out on site, we found out they were just closing their doors. Unfortunately, it can destroy businesses. So, moving on, agentic AI. I think everyone here is more than aware of AI. You probably all use it somewhat in your daily lives nowadays. I want to talk a little bit about the difference between agentic AI and generative AI, just as this is something that's pretty cool to understand. So, agentic AI is where there is either little to no human interaction. So the AI agent does things on its own or with very little interaction, such as you know, reaching out across all of the internet and identifying public IPs with certain vulnerabilities, and then even attempting to exploit those vulnerabilities and report back that, hey, there's something vulnerable here, and so it's pretty crazy what can happen nowadays from an agentic AI. I think all of us are familiar with the generative AI, which is more responses or content that result from human prompts. So think Chat GPT or something of that nature. That's generative AI, where we're able to create content based on our input, human input. So the agentic AI, and I will say that both of those things are used from a security perspective on the offensive and the defensive side. And so from a threat perspective, again, the agentic AI really helps identify vulnerabilities and automates attacks, including even multi-stage attacks. Now, we're starting to see the first of those. On the flip side, from a defensive standpoint, This type of AI can detect anomalies in real time, automate incident response, enhance threat intelligence, and then all of the above, all those things contribute to a more effective defense, including MDR. So MDR, who knows what MDR stands for? But again, by a raise of hands. All right, great. We got quite a few that know what MDR stands for. So if you don't, no worries at all. It's managed detection and response. So managed detection and response is which Vo will talk about a little bit later, is kind of the next evolution of security logging and monitoring. It really helps weed out a lot of the noise, and it focuses on what's most important and then responding to that, not just alerting on it. So we'll talk about that and its criticality in today's landscape. Okay, all right. Next is deepfake and synthetic attacks. Who here has heard of these types of attacks? Now, we've all seen probably AI created videos on the internet of celebrities, et cetera, just for fun. But who here was aware that those are actually being used in attacks nowadays? Again, by raise of hands. Okay, great. So these things are, I would say they are not nearly as common as just a phishing email. And the reason they're not as common as the phishing email is because, unfortunately, phishing emails still work many times nowadays. Now, if for some reason those phishing emails stop working, I'm sure we would see a spike in the use of this type of attack. However, there have been several attacks that have resulted in large sums of money being transferred or lost. I wanted to take a quick peek at one scenario or one instance of an attack that almost resulted in a wire transfer but was caught. So I'm going to play a quick video here that talks a little bit about that. And let me just make sure that you guys can hear this. I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second and make sure that my audio settings are correct. I apologize. I thought I had taken care of that before, but I want to make sure that that is correct so you guys can hear that. Play background noise. Let's see. Settings. Okay. I'm just going to try this and see if you guys can hear this. Give me just 1 second. I think it might be set up correctly. Share content. Where did this go?
Earlier this year, DMB.
Can you guys hear that? Yep. Okay.
I can hear it.
Perfect. Thanks, Will.
Yep.
Earlier this year, DMB, which is the largest bank in Norway with offices across the world, became the target of a highly sophisticated deepfake fraud attack. The scam began with WhatsApp messages sent to senior staff at DMB's offices in Singapore and London. These messages appeared to come from the CFO of the bank, who together with the CEO was inviting them to an online meeting about an investment opportunity. Millions of Singapore dollars were about to be transferred.
All for your participation today. Congratulations on your nomination as project leader. You are instructed to initiate the capital deposits tomorrow morning in Singapore via DMB's Singapore branch. Please transfer 881,780 Singapore dollars and 1,970,626 Singapore dollars. And we'll provide you by tomorrow with the necessary document. This marks the official start of the integration of this critical project. All participants are reminded to follow their payment schedules as discussed.
The setting, the tone, the language, the faces was familiar. There were a few small video glitches, but nothing unusual for a cross-border video call. But here's the thing, none of it was real. Neither the CEO nor the CFO had joined the meeting. The entire call was a deep fake. built using publicly available video and audio, such as interviews, speeches, and media clips. The attackers had pasted it all together and used AI to generate a convincing live video feed with cloned voices and synchronized facial movements. Picture this. A fake identity gets approved by a bank's KYC process. It looks perfect. It has an ID, address, even a selfie. It's completely AI.
All right, so that's about all I wanted to show of that. Pretty scary stuff, huh? It's again, this has actually resulted in large sums of money being lost. So there was an incident, I believe it was either last year or it was last year. $25 million was wired from an organization, and then earlier this year, a very similar attack impersonating a CEO resulted in the loss of $500,000. So it does happen. Now, again, as I mentioned, it's not as prevalent as other attacks because guess what? The other attacks still work, unfortunately. And so the criminals are going to take the path of least resistance. They're going to quote unquote earn their money. They're not, and even though it's in an illegitimate way, they're going to earn their money the easiest way possible. So, but this will become more prevalent as we kind of close those other gaps. All right. Quantum computing threats. So everyone has heard of quantum computing. Really, what this does is this requires us to upgrade our current encryption algorithms to quantum safe encryption. Before, these were very theoretical attacks that could occur with encryption on websites, web traffic, etc. They could occur, but we didn't see hardly any instances of these. It will become more and more common, and there's a critical need to update our encryption standards to quantum safe encryption. Let's talk a little bit about zero trust architecture. So zero trust is the idea that you don't trust anything anywhere at any time, and you always validate. So there will a couple examples of this. If there are any of our Executech customers on the webinar, you will know that we have at least offered you what's called device-based access through Microsoft 365 conditional access. And what that does is it requires a known and trusted computer or device in order for you to be able to authenticate to Microsoft 365. So it takes it another layer. It's not just validating username, password, and multi-factor authentication token, but also validating your device. So this is just one example of a principle of zero trust. There's a lot more that goes into zero trust. There's also the concept of ZTNA, Zero Trust Network Access, that are specific offerings that will be touched on a little bit later. Additionally, the regulatory landscape is a current trend we're seeing, including things like the cyber disclosure requirements and CMMC that really will take will take compliance, which is much of a checkbox activity and has been used in the past as a strategic advantage by some companies to even more of a strategic differentiator, especially for those that want to work with the federal government, for example. And then finally, cyber warfare and geopolitical risks. So the nation state attacks that we're seeing or not seeing, I think those might be the ones that are even more scary, the ones that we're not seeing occurring will continue to rise. And then cybercrime will continue to be used in warfare, unfortunately. So those are some of the trends that we are seeing nowadays, and those things are, while scary, we actually have many different mechanisms to defend against those, and I'm going to let Vo talk a little bit about how Executech and Sophos defend against these and capitalize on these trends.
Awesome, thanks, Tyler. I just requested control there, so you should see it come through. We're good.
Give me just 1 second. I'm going to stop sharing because I think I need to stop sharing for that to pop up. Let's see here. Give control.
Okay, I think I'll have to request it again.
Yeah, go ahead and request it again.
Yep, it should be coming through.
Oh, there it goes. Okay. Give control.
Awesome. Looks like I have control now. Thank you, Tyler. Well, hey everybody, we probably hear AI every day now, right? So to start things off, Sophos has been using AI for years, well before what it is now. It's been a huge hype. We can't get away from it. Like Tyler mentioned, you're probably using AI to some degree. You might not even know it. But how we're using AI today, we're using it as a leverage, as a tool to help with threat prevention, detection, and our human analysts are using it to help stay ahead of any potential threats that might be coming from the wild, right? So that's how we're using AI today. And more on AI, how it's currently applied in some of our tools today. It's used to help mitigate risks. I know Tyler had mentioned some of this before. It's helping to scan for any vulnerabilities, any exposures, likelihood of any exposures that could lead to a potential ransom attack or any risk, right, of that. It also helps block threats. It's built right into our endpoint agent, which we've been using for decades. But of course, with the recent trend of AI, we've incorporated that in the last, I would say, just under a decade. So yeah, we've been definitely using AI for a very long time. And now, how it helps block threats, it's constantly looking for malicious URLs. It's looking for any phishing websites. Definitely more than just that, but those are just some examples. It's also helping with our investigations, especially in our XDR tool, as well as our threat analysts are using it for the day-to-day MDR service that we provide as well, just to help with that heavy lifting so we can identify any malicious threats and respond to those threats much quicker that way. Okay. And then last but not least, responding to attacks, of course, especially in our XDR tool, it helps provide a quick summary of what's happening, what we're seeing, as well as providing any response actions to help quickly get to that and remediate any immediate threats. And another differentiator on how Sophos is navigating the AI hype. So we're focusing on outcome first. So a lot of organizations don't see the benefits of their AI investment because we've been doing this for nearly a decade. We understand not only can we do this well, we can do it at scale, right? So we know the real world impacts and we'll apply it to that. Now, also, the second thing is our security first approach. We understand that a poorly designed, developed, and trained AI model could do more damage than good. So at Sophos, we have a process where we can confidently execute our AI tool to help with our day-to-day defense mechanisms. Okay. And then last but not least, a lot of vendors don't focus on the AI, not the benefits it delivers. Obviously, at Sophos, with the years of experience that we have proven solutions that we can apply to the real world, scenarios that we're seeing on a day-to-day basis. Now, let's jump into email. I know Tyler touched a lot on this, and we'll talk about how we incorporate AI into our Sophos email solution as well. Here you can see more than 90% of successful cyber attacks start with a phishing email, and a staggering almost $3 billion of losses from BEC attacks in 2024. BEC stands for Business Email Compromise, if you don't already know. And then the last stat I'd like to share is 83% of security leaders express a concern that AI will enable more advanced phishing and BEC attacks, which is up a staggering 21% in 2024. Okay. Now, how are we using AI to help monitor employee inboxes in our Sophos email solution? One, we've got the time of click protection, which helps evaluate geolocations, any brand likeness, and any phishing URLs, as well as natural language processing, which helps look for the scans for the email subject, as well as the body and the header fields. And then next is, of course, the impersonation protection, which is looking for organization spoofing, stuff like header and domain anomalies as well. Okay. And next, of course, is the intelligence enhancement that we have with the help of the AI, which is constantly looking for any suspicious attachments, any likelihood of suspicious links or characteristics within that email that might raise a red flag. Okay. Next up, here we have an example of how AI is used to prevent BEC attacks. So let's say the attacker would send that email. Sophos emails would kick in with the AI capabilities to analyze the subject line and all the content of that email. And then it's going to do one of two things. If it's deemed malicious, it's going to block it and not go through and preventing any attacks. If it's a legitimate email, everything looks good, then it's going to get passed and go to the recipient. So that's how Sophos emails is being utilized with the help of AI to protect organizations today. Now, next up, let's jump into ZTNA. Tyler touched on this a bit, and ZTNA is very simple. The whole idea behind ZTNA is to never trust, always verify, right? So here you got a classic perimeter where once you're on the network, you're trusted and you have access to the entire network, all the different folders, HR, finance, whatever. That's why ZTNA is very important. ZTNA not only verifies the user and device, but even when they're verified, they're only able to access what they've been given privilege to. So only application and folders that they're allowed to, nothing more, which will reduce any risk of any potential attacks if that were the case. And quick pause here. We touched on AI. We touched on Sophos email. We touched a little bit on ZTNA. Now, in today's world, the online world of business especially, that's definitely not enough, right? So that's why there's MDR. I know Tyler touched on this as well, mentioned MDR stands for Managed Detection and Response. And why it's important? Well, a lot of the security operating teams that we talk to and IT specialists that we talk to, they all agree that the cybersecurity landscape is becoming more challenging for them to effectively manage on their own and with their team, because a lot of them are wearing multiple hats, doing a bunch of things, have multiple projects going on. So with MDR, it's a combination of using people, technology, and having got good process in place, right? So let's break this down a bit. What is MDR? MDR is an expert-led defense with full-scale incident response, right? So what our team is doing, they're proactively monitoring and investigating, and they will respond to any threats on your behalf, so you don't have to worry about that. Next is our response time. Sophos MDR, we can do all that monitoring, investigating, and response within that 38 minutes, which is huge. I'll touch on that in the next slide as well, why that's important. 38 minutes is 96% faster than the industry benchmark. And next up is our full-scale incident response, which means we don't have limited hours. There's no need for a retainer. So whether it takes 10 hours or 100 hours for us to help you with any potential attacks, we've got your back there. And last but not least here is the return on investment from your current technology that you're using. So no need to rip and replace things. Our analysts can leverage what you're currently using to help detect and respond to threats. And this is why we have the most customers in this service space out of any vendor. We've got more than 35,000 customers leveraging our MDR service today. Okay. And next, we touched on this at first, the detection and response time. Now, why this is important? This is so important in our industry because the longer a threat actor is in your environment, the more damage they'll be able to do. And of course, that's going to lead to more costs, more downtime, of course. As you can see here, Sophos MDR, we can detect within a minute, investigate within 25, and we can remediate that within the 12 minutes. This is all done under that 38-minute window. As you can see, most security teams take at least 16 hours on average. In some cases, it's even longer than that. And that is why time is so important here. Next up, we're going to touch on the key attack surfaces. To defend from active adversaries properly, you need to have full visibility. Otherwise, it's like flying a plane blind, right? So the more our team is able to see, the quicker we'll be able to identify any malicious activity, and then we can respond accordingly. So some of the vendors you see here are just a handful of the popular ones. We actually have hundreds more that we integrate with, okay? And next slide here, we're going to show you, of course, the included integration. So any Sophos products, that's obviously going to be included under our MDR. Any Microsoft security tools, Google Suite, any of the third-party endpoint vendors that you might see here, those are also included as well, okay? And if you're looking at, non-Sophos products that you would like our MDR team to kind of monitor on your behalf as well, we can definitely do that. So any third-party firewall or email that you might be using today and you want all that to be integrated, that's not a problem. We can do that as well, okay? Now, Sophos difference. We probably hear AI, next gen. What is the difference, right? Well, at Sophos, we start with prevention first. Our endpoint agent is going to block out a lot of that noise again. So our team or your SOC team, if you have one, can easily identify any malicious activity and attend to those quicker that way. Next up is we have the largest AI open platform, right? We're not only detecting what we already know, but our AI is trained to see what potentially could be a huge risk that's in the wild that's not yet known. And then next up, we mentioned this in the last couple of slides, we can adapt to your needs. No need for you to rip and replace things. We currently integrate with more than 350 third-party vendors today. And next is our synchronized security. Our synchronized security within our Sophos ecosystem allows us to share data across different products, again, which allows us to identify any malicious activity quickly and respond to those threats faster that way. And last but not least, we're highly rated, not only for our MDR service, but for our endpoint and our firewalls as well. And you can definitely, don't take my word for that. You can check out Gartner, G2. These are platforms where IT professionals leave their reviews. And that's all I have to share with you today. Tyler, I'm going to pass it back to you to finish off with any closing remarks.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm going to stop sharing for just 1 second because I have a box open on my side that you guys probably can't see, but it's in the middle or in the way of something. So give me just 1 second. Gotta love technology. All right, there we go. Okay, so some final thoughts today. The cyber threat landscape evolves rapidly, right? There's a lot that happens, and there's stuff that changes all the time. I mean, if you would have asked about, or if you would have thought of AI 3 years ago, we would have never thought that we would be where we're at today. And so it's hard to predict the future, but it's important to continuously adapt. And empowering your people is critical. So here at Executech, we utilize solutions that will help to empower your people, including training solutions. And that's critical because the humans will always be one of the weakest links in the chain. Proactive defense, just like was talked about by Vo, is critical. So we start with our relationship with Sophos and the endpoint protecting us and blocking attacks, and then the MDR service, taking a proactive standpoint to look for threats and not only monitor for threats, but also search for things that are occurring at other organizations that might, and to determine if it's occurring within our clients or our organization. We utilize Sophos MDR internally at Executech as well, so that we can detect malicious behavior before it turns into an attack, or indicators of malicious behavior before they turn into an attack. And then finally, the strategic partnerships. So there's no one today that can go it alone. Even the largest enterprises have to create strategic partnerships. We have partnered with Sophos, and we hope that if you aren't yet partnered with us, that you would consider that, as we are very, very excited to help protect our partners and enable their core business. So with that, we want to just open it up to any questions that you guys might have. Looks like there's some hand raised. So if your hand is raised and you don't have a question, if you want to just hit the hand button and lower your hand, and we can take some questions from those that have their hands raised. Or Latasha, if you've seen any questions come through.
Nope, I don't see any questions in the chat, but I do have the chat open for anyone that does have questions. I can let the team know and they can answer those for you.
Okay. Latasha, I don't think we have the ability for folks to voice their questions, right? They have to put it in the chat. Is that right?
Yes, it would have to go through the chat. Yes.
Okay. We'll wait just a couple more minutes to see if you guys have any questions, or a few more seconds.
Okay, I did set a control for anyone on the webinar to unmute themselves. So if you have a question, you can unmute and deliver your questions to the team.
Oh, thanks, Latasha.
Yeah.
Looks like we have one hand raised from Mark Bradley. Mark, did you have a question? If not, no worries. Hand down. Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate it, guys. Hopefully this has been educational, and we hope that at least some of the things that you've heard of or that you learned about today were, like I said, educational, or maybe they spur you to go do your own research on some additional items that you heard about today. So
I'm not sure if you guys can see the chat, but we did have a question come through.
Okay, I can't see it because I'm sharing my screen. Do you want to go ahead and read it?
No worries. Yeah. So does Sophos have an ability to track unusual behavior on an M365 user?
Are you referring to ITDR, identity? Are you using Microsoft Entra ID? Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Great question. Great timing. We just launched ITDR for monitoring identity on Microsoft Entra ID. So yes, we can do that.
Yep. And even before the ITDR was launched, unusual sign-ins, that type of activity, as well as the emails that were sent, if there was the email filter in place and that integration in place with MDR, those were all detected and have been for quite a while now. Great question. Latasha, are you seeing anything else?
Yes, we have another one here. It says, with the Sophos email protection, is that able to be integrated with G Suite?
Yeah, the answer is yes. It works in gateway mode, much like many of the other products that are available out there, third-party products. So The email is sent to Sophos, inspected, and then delivered to Gmail from there if it is legitimate. Great question. You seen anything else, Latasha?
Nothing else after that one. Just a thank you for your response.
Yeah, you bet. Great. Well, that's awesome. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate being with you today. And hopefully, like I said, this was educational. And you guys have a great rest of your day. And thanks for the opportunity
We
to
did
present.
get one more came.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So
That's okay.
Sophos MDR, how do we know if we have this service, or is it an additional package we can purchase?
Great question. All of the Executech customers have Sophos MDR complete already. So if you're with Executech and you have a maintenance agreement with us, and if you're not sure whether or not you have a maintenance agreement with us, then go ahead and contact your professional services manager or your PSM or what used to be called your CSM, and ask them. But all of our customers have MDR, and this is a really important point. We earlier this year, in the spring of this year, we upgraded all of our clients to this because, as Vo said, it's not a matter of whether or not it's needed today. It's a must-have, and we feel so strongly that we require it.
Okay. That one, just double checking the Q&A chat as well, because that's how I missed that one. Sorry, Steve, but we got that one. And yeah, I think that might be the last one. If there's any other questions, yeah, you guys feel free to post them in the chat. But outside of that, I think that's our last one.
Okay. Sounds great. Thanks again. Just wanted to thank Sophos and Vo, as well as Latasha and all the folks in the background that helped put this on. Thanks everybody, and hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you all.